What's up, everybody? Whoa, whoa, what are you doing? Hey, hey, you're going the wrong way. Okay, this is Florida, guys. We're gonna go on a little road trip. Yes, I blew the stop sign, I know. It's Florida, that's how we drive here. Yes, I'm gonna blow another stop sign. There's nobody coming from miles, the roads are empty. Relax, this is Florida. What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. You guys want me to do some commentary when I do these drive-through videos? Sure, I guess. I mean, I could do it. I'd probably prefer not to, but every time I have to, get on this microphone, it kind of gives me the butterflies in my stomach, and you feel like you're on stage. It's probably why I don't do it. Look at this guy. You're gonna go. You're gonna go. Am I gonna go? Are you going? Am I going? You're going. Okay, I'm going. I step on and I flirt right through the intersection. Okay. Cool. It's this guy on the bike gonna cut me off. Dude, this is Florida. Yeah, for real. Like, Florida. Woo. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do today, guys. We're leaving Naples Park and we're gonna go to Sanibel. Okay. Just a long drive, but you know what? We're all home right now, and maybe you need this drive, so I'm doing this for you. Maybe you're up in Michigan and it's freezing cold. Is it still cold up there? I don't know. It's Florida. I don't know what season we're in. I don't know if we're in winter or summer. It's all the same. It's either really hot or there's people from up north. That's the only seasons we got here. So, like, a lot of subscribers have been asking me for commentary on the videos, and yeah, it would make the video better. So we just passed Naples Park Elementary School on the right-hand side. I went there, yeah, 4th grade. When I first came down to Florida, that's where I went to middle school, elementary school. Big houses, yeah, that's Naples Park. Everything on the left-hand side is Naples Park. And Naples Park, I think houses there start at about $350. And then there's a cemetery. That's where my mother and my grandmother are resting. So that cemetery right there on the right, my mother and my grandmother are resting there. So, all right, we're approaching Vanderbilt Beach Road. Now, Vanderbilt Beach Road, we're going to take a turn going north. We're going to stop here. We stopped. Okay, we came to a full stop. We came to a full stop, okay? Don't lie and try to say that I didn't. I came to a full stop. Now, Vanderbilt goes east to west, but when it gets to the coast, it makes a turn for the north. So, this is actually Vanderbilt or Vanderbilt Beach Road, I'm not sure, but Vanderbilt, when it gets to the coast, it turns north. So, you've heard of Vanderbilt going east to west, but there's a little stretch that runs from Naples Park to Bonita Beach Road that's actually north to south. Everything on the left is called the Dunes. Yeah, there's a bus stop there when I was growing up, and it's weird because from elementary, middle to high school, the bus stops were exactly the same. So the kids that were with me from 4th grade all the way up to high school, the bus route was literally almost the same exact group of kids, or to a large extent the same kids. I don't know why they don't change the bus routes over the years. So the kids that I went to elementary school with, middle school, all the way up to high school, some of the same kids were on the same bus route. So that's kind of odd, but that's the way they set up the bus routes for us. So there was one girl that lived in that community there, and she went to school with us. She was pretty cool. And she went to school with us, I don't think through like middle school to high school or something ridiculous. Not sure why they don't change the bus stops. But now we're heading north on Vanderbilt, and this is one of my secret fishing spots right there. So you see the car parked right there. He knows about my fishing spot. This is the first bridge on Vanderbilt. This is a really good fishing spot. You have to park where that guy was parked. So this bridge right here is awesome fishing. Then this is the big bridge. Now these bridges were originally built in the 60s, and like 4 or 5 years ago they redid them. So this stretch of road was closed for a long time. And when they opened it back up, the amount of traffic that's been going through there is crazy. I don't know if you noticed that when I did the drone flyover of Naples, this is Wiggins Pass Road, so this is, if I take a right turn, I would be going home. But when I did that drive-through, there's actually more traffic on Vanderbilt than there is on 41 at night. I think it's because all these private communities back here, they go shopping or they go to dining or whatever down in Naples, and then they come up Vanderbilt. They don't go on 41 because it's a nicer ride. You're looking at big buildings, you can see the water, bridges, less traffic, so it looks nicer. This is Kalia Bay on the left. It's a brand new thing they're building. Keep in mind too, guys, that I'm not going to edit this. I'm just talking, so there may be pauses or whatever. I mean, I'm not going to like edit this the way I would a talking video because it's so much longer. So Don't expect me to edit this and make it sound great. If I talk, if I stop, whatever. It's the first time that I'm actually narrating a video this long that's a drive-through, so it's not going to be perfect. So yeah, you can look up the video where I flew at night, and you'll notice that there's more traffic on Vanderbilt than US 41 now with the whole shutdown thing. I don't know why, but there is. So this is now Bay Forest. It's a really nice private community, and they actually have like their own little fishing pier. Really nice community back in there. We're now getting close to the Lee County line, so we're leaving Collier County, which is the Naples area where I live, and we'll be stepping into Bonita. I kind of live in the middle of Naples and Bonita, so depending on what I'm doing is going to depend where I'm going to. On the right hand side is Audubon, whatever. And I've done some videos there. Now I have over 600 videos on my channel, so if you're looking for a particular video, you have to kind of type it on the search bar on my channel. You go to my videos and you search for it, because there's over 600 videos, so there's a lot of content on my channel that maybe it's right for you, but you're gonna have to look for it. You're gonna have to like dig through it. I mean, you're really gonna have to take some time. It's over 600 videos. Like, I've had a lot of YouTube channels in the past, and what I like about this channel, and I told myself about this channel, was I'm going to produce a lot of content. Sometimes when you produce so much content, it kind of confuses your audience, and your audience doesn't always go back to view those old videos, but there's a lot of good stuff in there, so just go back. If you get bored of the new stuff, go back and look for some old videos. I think you can even, like, when you do the search bar on YouTube, I think you can even do older, like it tells you sort by older, most popular, or newest. It automatically goes to newest, but you can actually switch it around and go to oldest and start from the beginning of my channel and follow the trajectory of this channel to where it is today. I'm going to turn into here. This is Bonita Shores, his name is community. I always cut through here because for some reason I hate the intersection of Bonita Beach Road and Vanderbilt, because that light takes forever. So what I do is I cut through the back streets, and for some reason there's always good stuff back here. Oh, barbecue grills and furniture, they always throw out good stuff back here. So I take this little detour back here just to see what I can find, new cars for sale. For some reason this area always has a lot of good stuff. A lot of times people get mad at me because I roll through the stop signs like that. My truck is, this isn't a Mercedes-Benz. This is a 6,500 pound truck with fuel and me probably close to 7,000 pounds. So it looks like I'm flying through these streets, but I'm actually going pretty slow. It's just the angle of the camera. Like if you were standing far away, you'd look like I almost stopped. But just the camera makes it look like I'm moving a lot faster than I really am. This truck is a heavy beast. It's a GMC 2500. It's got 205,000 miles. And if it wasn't for the lockdown, it'd probably have 210,000 miles by now, man. I love putting miles on this truck. Best car I've ever had. I got it with 128,000 miles from a guy here in Bonita. And actually, we're going to pass this business up ahead. See, I kind of came to a stop, but the thing is about this camera is, like, if you're looking at me, it looks like I almost stopped. And then you're watching the video, it seems like I keep going. But anyways, I don't come to a full stop. And cops are not that picky. I mean, they're not trying to give you a ticket. You really got to do something really stupid to get a ticket. Now, when I go to, like, Fort Myers or other places, I stop. But I know my area. Cops know me. You're not going to get a ticket here. You have to really do something ridiculous to get a ticket around here. So now we're the water is right to the left of us. There's some apartments here. This little house on the corner, they've been fixing it for a while. It was a really old house. Right after Hurricane Irma, I cleaned up all these businesses here and these apartments here. I cleaned up all this stuff here. I had a really good customer here, but I don't have them anymore. I lost that account. But after Hurricane Irma, the first job I did, I went straight to them. They told me, the guy called me. He says, look, after Hurricane Irma, I need you to come straight here and start cleaning up. When I got there, there's like 20 trees that fell. I mean, I had to like bring 3 or 4 other guys and just start chainsawing and hauling stuff away. So after Hurricane Irma, that was the first place that I went to, was those apartments. Really good people there. It's an older mix of people, sometimes, you know, some communities I don't like a lot. Like, I'll tell you one community I don't like down here. It's Imperial Golf Course. I don't like that community. There's doctors, lawyers, realtors, just really high-end, you know, rich people. But for some reason, I don't like the vibe of that community. I like the newer, younger community. Seems like the people are better. Check out this bait shop here. Yeah, this is one of the bait shops right here. They got mad at me because when I first started my fishing channel, Jose Likes Fishing, which I don't upload to that channel a lot anymore because I'm so busy with this channel. When I first started my fishing channel, I made I just made an opinion about this place, and they saw the video because that channel kind of blew up as well. It got up to 2,000 subscribers fairly quickly, but Florida Hood Blogs outpaced it, so I kind of stepped away from that channel, even though I had a good following. I'm just not able to do it. Like, fishing is a hobby for me, like a real hobby, and I just don't have time for it. Like, between Florida Hood Blogs, my business, and everything else that I do, I just, family and other responsibilities that I have, I just don't have time for the fishing channel like I used to. But anyways, yeah, they were mad at me because of the fishing channel, but it was just like, I never thought that channel was going to blow up. And that's what's weird when you start off on YouTube. Like, you don't know how big your channel is going to get, so you say stuff and then you don't realize that how many people are going to hear it. Like, when I first made that YouTube video about Naples and why people are moving out, if I had known that 500,000, almost 300,000 people now, a quarter million people are going to watch that video, I don't know if I would have gone about it the same way. But that's the thing about YouTube, you don't know what's going to blow up. Anyways, this gas station here, how much was the ticket, Katie, the one here? Like 300 million or something? Somebody watching will know. If you know how much the ticket was for, comment. But there was a winning ticket that was sold at this gas station. So, yeah, incredible. Somebody bought a lottery ticket there and they won like millions and millions of dollars. Yup. What are the chances, right? Ooh, nice color on that Porsche. I had a Porsche, one of my first cars ever. It was a 1988 944, and I got it for $175. Some people, it had a Michigan tag on it. They brought it down from Michigan, and it needed work. And then they let it sit, and a rat made a nest inside the air filter. And after spending like $900 trying to fix it, I called my mechanic friend up in Kentucky. Here's the other bait shop right there. If you want to buy bait, that's another bait shop on the right. Tiny little store. It's like a really old Florida type of feel. Well, anyways, I called my other mechanic friend up in Kentucky, and he was like, yo, there's a rat's nest inside the air filter. And sure enough, there was. Then I got with my wife, and she made me get rid of it because it was a fast, sporty little car, and I was driving around fast, and all the girls wanted to get their hands on me because I had it. So wife made me get rid of it, like all the other cool things you've made me get rid of because you think other girls will like me in it.
Don't lie to people.
No, oh, no, I'm lying? Okay, I not have to believe. So this restaurant, ooh, that airplane was flying low, man. I don't know why. You know, like, I can fly my drone up to 400 feet. That airplane was flying way, I don't think it's flying. Look, I see right there in the center of the screen. That plane was flying low. Low, scary low. Why is it flying so low? See that? Like, I'm your drone, you can't fly it over 400 feet. You gotta be over 200 feet. I just got in trouble because of that. Some neighbor called the cops on me. He's just a hater. A real hater. You know, he doesn't like that I make money on YouTube and whatever. So he called the cops on me. He could have been formal about it. You see right here, you're supposed to come to a full stop. If that pedestrian is still on the road and you're driving, you'll get a ticket. So when this type of pedestrian crossing, if the pedestrian's on the road, anywhere on the road, you have to come to a full stop. Just so you know that, because you will get a ticket for that. So now Bonita Beach Road turns north. Now we're on Little Hickory Island. And Little Hickory Island, I've worked a lot here as well. This is all my area. I've made money in all these little streets. This is my neighborhood pretty much. So these houses on the left, their backyard is literally the beach. Isn't that cool? I think they're about $3 million and up. So whoever bought these properties like in the 90s or early 2000s made a killing on the you know, the appreciation of these properties. Property taxes are high, but sometimes the appreciation is actually higher than that. There's still a profit. But anyways, we're on Little Hickory Island heading north. Bonita Beach Road eventually turns into Estero Boulevard, so I think this is Estero Boulevard, but if you tell anybody just go up Bonita, it turns into Estero. So a lot of people refer to this as Bonita, but I think it goes Bonita Beach Road, Little Hickory, and then Estero. But either way, it's confusing. It should just all be called one road. I don't know why they do that. Same thing with Livingston and Naples turns into Imperial and Bonita, and then Three Oaks in San Carlos. And I think beyond that now they're going to extend it, I think, and then it's going to have another name. But yeah, big houses here, really expensive. Even the ones, I mean, it's basically an island, so everything on the island is expensive. But the ones on the left side, their backyard is the beach, so they're a little bit more expensive. Probably in the $3 million range and up. I'm not really sure. I've worked for some really wealthy people. I get a lot of, because the customer contacts me directly, so and most people down here are wealthy, so I've worked in some really interesting places. Of course, you have to respect your customers' privacy, but I've met some celebrities here in Southwest Florida, and some people you've probably seen on TV, and other people who are just, maybe they're not the TV type, but they're engineers and they design a bunch of stuff, and it's incredible how many wealthy people are down here. I love it. I love meeting them. I love working for them. They always give you I have a junk removal business, so I'm getting rid of their crap, and sometimes the stuff they're getting rid of is like, I remember a while back, this is many years ago, I did a job around Everglades City, and they had like 3 drones in a closet, and I was like, please let me keep them, but the guy just kept them. He probably never was going to fly the drones, but I guess somebody passed away or moved away or whatever, and I was like, please give me those drones. Okay, this is the first bridge. First bridge, that's what I call it. It's really, I think it's Little Hickory Pass. I call it the first bridge because it's the first bridge heading up the beach. You can see the ocean on the left there briefly. Really high tide right now. The tide's really, really high. This fishing spot sucks. You see all these people here? Isn't that crazy? Look at how many people, man. You'd think they'd be at home trying to stay away from other people, but they're not. Is it me or people who drive Jeeps don't really care about the quarantine? It's like every time you see somebody like obliviously violating quarantine regulations, they're always driving a Jeep for some reason. That fishing spot sucks. The only thing, I've caught a redfish there once, but it was pure luck. It wasn't like you're gonna catch a redfish there. That spot sucks. Catfish, nothing but catfish. I think I might have caught a big snook there before, but it's a crappy spot, trust me on that. There are sheep's head there on the southwest corner. Look at how many people are kayaking here. Look at this. Isn't that crazy? More Jeeps, more Jeeps. Seems like Jeeps are the thing to have nowadays in this area. A lot of kayaking. That spot there, that first bridge, there's sheep's head on the southwest corner. There's snappers on the southeast corner because there's like some structure down there, so there's snapper. Oh, the boat docks on the south side are packed with snook heading out to the pass, but it's like a certain time of the year. I remember one time I was fishing at night and I had a flashlight, and there might have been 4,000 snook just sitting there on the pilings. They're all facing the same direction, but it was late at night and I was already coming back from a fishing trip, so I didn't really try to catch them. More Jeeps, man. Just Jeeps everywhere. So again, lots of people out and about. This blew my mind. I was like, wow, I cannot believe how many people are out and about. And actually, I did a drone fly here, so if you look in my channel, you'll see the video. I'm not gonna repost it again. I'll post a little clip of it, might as well. We're already here, right? But you can see how many people are out and about, which is cool. Hey, I don't want to be stuck at home. I want to be out and about, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be stuck at home. I want to be out there, but it's crazy. More Jeeps, man. There's a lot of Jeeps around here. Is that a Lamborghini? Wow, man. You see the craziest stuff. Like, you'll notice on the drone video, a Ferrari going the other way. It's just incredible how much money there is down here. This whole area is just freaking wealthy, man. Just money, 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 money. Is that a Porsche? Lots of money out here, people. Just the cars you see down here are insane. But really can't believe how many people are out here on the beaches. Let's put the drone in the air and take a closer look. Alright, I'm just going to show you guys some photos because this video is already going to be really long and I don't want to keep putting more files into this thing because it can make the computer crash. But as you can see, there was a lot of people there. These are just some photos. If you want to see the full video, it's on my channel. It says, I think the title is Social Distancing Anyone or something like that. You'll see it. But it's one of my recent uploads. So if you want to see the video of this flyover from the drone, go find it. It's there. It's on my channel. Go look for it. Go look for it, people. So I just don't want to add that clip into this file because this is already a really huge file. So if I start bringing more files into it, it can crash the system. So I don't want to confuse. It's already like a long video. I usually don't like to do videos this long, but I figured you guys are probably at home. Another Jeep. You guys are probably at home, so I figured I'd do a really long video, just to bring some excitement into your life, man. Now that bridge there used to be sea trout there. The tarpon are always rolling, especially when the tide's out. There's a deep spot there, but you need to have a boat. You're not going to get to them. I recently ran into some pompano there. It was one of my last videos for the fishing channel. They were flying through there. I hooked into one and I just couldn't land them. They're so fast. You have to reel too fast, and my reel was a big reel. If I had a smaller reel, I could have reeled faster, but the bigger the reel, the slower you reel it in, and they're fast fish, so I lost them. But that spot can actually be alright, although I don't fish it because you'll see people sitting there for hours on end fishing. Like, they'll sit there for 8 hours, 6 hours fishing one single spot, and then they don't catch anything. I don't fish like that. I move around. I use artificials. I'm not big on sitting and waiting. Like, if I'm fishing saltwater, quite literally, I have to, like, the tides have to be right. I fished a while, so I know if the tides are moving, the moon, the tides, the weather, everything. I know if it's worth fishing at a particular time. If it's not worth fishing, I don't fish it, period, you know. I don't waste time fishing. There's people that sit there and they'll fish for 8 hours. I don't know how they do it. I can't do that. I have to, like if I want to fish and the tides aren't right, I don't fish, period. The tides have to be right for me to fish. This is a good redfish spot right here on the right. Lots of redfish, and on the left there's bait fish in there if you're cast netting. There's a little park here if you can take your kids. There's it's not the greatest playground, but it's a little playground. There's some benches. People like to sit there and read a book or something. This bridge is one of the few places I actually fish. Like, I'll be there for an hour or two because this bridge will surprise you. I've hooked into sharks. Never actually landed one, but I've hooked into sharks. I've hooked into a grouper. Yeah. And there's actually videos on YouTube where they catch like Oscar fish, which is illegal to do it. But they'll catch an Oscar fish and they'll bring it into the salt water. You're not supposed to do that. But right there with those people, another Jeep. Those people right around there, I've hooked into a grouper right there on the left. There's a lot of snook. When the water's clear, you see the snook, the sharks. If you're brave enough to come all the way up here, I'm afraid of heights. But if you're not afraid of heights, there's tarpon, snook, sharks, everything you could think of right there at that spot. So if you really want to do some shoreline fishing, but then again, if you hook a shark, how are you going to drag it up the bridge? I don't know how that works. Look at that, not a single person. Now we're on Fort Myers Beach. So that bridge is interesting, and at night you can see the stars. It's a real clear spot. I just go there at night and just see the stars, and usually you'll hear all the cars passing by. You know, they're partying, they're drunk, and whatever. They're coming back from Fort Myers Beach, so all the cars got their music blasting. A lot of people, even from the city of Fort Myers, come to fish that spot. So that's one of those spots where you get people from everywhere fishing, from all the way up from East Fort Myers. They come to fish that bridge right there. So lots of fishing on that bridge, and a lot of snook, tarpon, grouper, big stuff. And at night, you bring a big flashlight, you'll see them, but they're smart. They're not dumb. They're not going to bite. You really got to, you know, you got to be on your game if you're going to catch them. Now we're on Fort Myers Beach. Let me just tell you something about Fort Myers Beach. One of those places I just don't like for some reason. the rudest people ever. I mean, these are mostly vacation rentals for the most part, and when there's business, they make a killing on these vacation rentals. It's insane. But the people on Fort Myers Beach who live there, it's just they really want their privacy. I'm the type of person that if you got a car for sale, I'll ask you to look at it, even if it's not for sale. Like I've bought cars on Fort Myers Beach. When I was younger, I used to buy and trade cars all the time. I don't do that anymore. But when I was younger, I picked up a BMW here on Fort Myers Beach. It was like a 535i, I think it was, like from the 90s. It had like 260,000 miles or something. It was an incredibly... one of those, like, it was just sitting on these people's lawns. I don't think it was even for sale. It was just sitting there, and I knocked on their door, and I was like, I got $800. I need a car. You want to sell it? And they did, you know. And they told me it ran, and I was afraid to believe them. But it ran, and, like, even I got sick and tired of it. And when I bought the Benz wagon, I said, you know what, this car's got to go, and I just got rid of it because it's just the only problem it had was it had BMWs are so weird. It had a water leak somewhere. Do you know where the water leak was? Inside of the air filter. Like, what did these German engines... I couldn't find the leak. I was like, why is this thing leaking? Where from? Like, back then, now I take it to a mechanic. Back then, I used to just do it myself because times were rougher back then. I was younger. You know how youth is. You're not like now. You can figure things. You pay somebody now. You know. But back then, I tried fixing it myself, and eventually, I found out that the leak was inside of the air filter. They run water from the radiator to the air filter, so that the radiator water can cool inside of the air filter, inside this little thing that pops in and out. It's so weird. It's like whatever. But yeah, I used to come buy cars here and stuff, and before I did the junk removal, I used to do scrap metal, and I would just knock on your door and say, hey, what do you got, man? What do you want to get rid of? You got, that's how I started my business, man. I started from nothing. I wasn't embarrassed of getting turned down. Like, I used to get turned down all the time. People would just, like, say, get out of my house, or curse you out, or sometimes they'd call the cops on you. I'm really familiar with all this area because when I started my business, I was a hustler. I was a go-getter. I wasn't embarrassed of anything. That's why now I live comfortable, because when I was young, I didn't care. I was trying to do something. I wasn't going to, we went through the recession where people lost their houses. It was some tough times back then, and I dropped out of high school. I couldn't get a job very well, so I was determined to, like, be where I am now or in a similar position, or better, Of course, you kind of settle. Once you're comfortable, you settle down, and you're not as industrious as you used to be, Like, I want to continue to be industrious, and I am with this YouTube channel. I think I am, I don't waste time. I don't even watch TV anymore. Like, ever since the lockdown started, we got Hulu. And on Hulu, I like King of the Hill. I'm on I'm on season 3 out of 11, I think. So, and I only watch it when I'm eating. That means I only watch TV when I'm eating. I am super industrious. So I'm not going to say I'm not as industrious as I used to be. But even now, like, my method's passing out business cards and meeting people in person. And everywhere I go, people know me. It's crazy. I can't walk into a Publix. Between the YouTube, my personal business, my past businesses before that, and my fishing and my social, I can't hide anywhere. It's like 1 in 200 people and probably know who I am in this area. It's hard for me to hide. I can't, like, beat up an old lady or rob a corner store because you'll know who I am. It's not like I can be on... Like, if I had a warrant for my arrest, I wouldn't last too long. I'd have to just turn myself in. It wouldn't be worth trying to hide. I know a lot of people. I was a go-getter. I was out there, out and about. Like, I've been in Sarasota, in Jacksonville, in Orlando, in Miami. Places where... Well, not in Orlando. Has it happened in Orlando? No. Not in Orlando yet. But Sarasota, Miami, Jacksonville, or Brooksville. Places where I don't even live, and I could be at a Walmart and have a conversation with somebody who knows who I am. Between all my YouTube channels, the pigeons, the fishing, now the Florida Hood blogs, and just people in general that I know. Like, I've literally been in a restaurant in Miami eating, and start talking to somebody and I'm like related to them. It's like, are you kidding me? I was in Tampa doing a pigeon video for a guy. So this is like a business thing back then when I did the pigeon videos. Started talking to the guy, I'm related to him. Of course, back then my grandpa had like 8 brothers and sisters and they all had like 13 it's like 250 people on one branch of the tree, because back then people had 13 kids and those 13 kids had 13 kids. So here's 256 people in the first 3 generations. Now they're in the 4th and 5th generation. It's like thousands of us pretty much out there. It's crazy. Like, it's just crazy. But anyways, it's hard for me to hide anywhere. It's one thing about YouTube. When you get your name out there, it's good because, I could break down in a town I don't live in, and eventually somebody will drive by, know who I am, say hi to me, and then be like, hey, help me. You know who I am. I'm not trying to scam you. Help me, It's got its good and it's got its bad. The bad is I have to be careful because I could do something. I could flick somebody off in traffic, let's say, and here when I get home, it's on Facebook. Oh, your YouTuber guy over there that runs this company, he's flicking people off in traffic. I can't do anything bad, pretty much, which I try not to. But what is like people don't understand about YouTube is like if I'm producing 1 hour of content a day, that's a lot of content. Eventually you're going to do something wrong, and then some of the subscribers will hold that against you for the rest of your life, man. People, 600 videos just on this channel. Eventually I am going to do something wrong. You can't, everybody makes mistakes. Even though I edit some of these videos and all that, something could slip through the cracks. I'm not perfect. Like, you're going to do something wrong eventually. You can't hold that against your YouTuber forever. Like, we're spending a lot of time together. We're spending an hour a day together or something like that. It's a lot of time together. You can't hold every little mistake against me, I think it's something that if you're a YouTube creator, you recognize it, but a regular person doesn't recognize it. But every YouTube creator is going to make mistakes unless they're being really, really filtered, censored, refined. If I want to create a channel that's really refined, censored, then I'm never going to grow, because then you fade in with everybody else. You don't have authenticity. You don't reveal who you really are. You don't show your creative abilities. So it's a risk you have to take. So every once in a while I'll get a comment like, Jose, I really like your videos, but on one video you said this one thing I just don't like. Okay, I get that. I'm a really good intentioned person, but I'm not perfect. And I make a lot of mistakes. And if you're watching my videos, you're going to find mistakes that I make. So if you're watching me do my thing and you're expecting perfection, that's not realistic. Like, give you guys an example. I have a friend. He has a specific trait. I can't mention it. I'm just going to try to explain this person from an outside, not from a specific, but from a general point of view. Just to, I don't like to talk too much. Some people think I like to talk too much, but like, as part of being a YouTube creator, you do have to have that touch of authenticity and realness. And a lot of YouTube creators, they're not willing to taint their name that way because they care about their face, the way they appear. But me, my teeth are ugly. I'm a high school dropout. I can't get a job at Walmart if I wanted to. You know, I have to be my own man. I can't depend on anybody else. I have to be my own man. So I'm not embarrassed to be who I am and have my antics because it's the only thing I got, really. So, well, this friend of mine has a really serious, actually several really serious personality traits. Really serious personality traits, like downright unbearable. Most people would say this person is unacceptable to me. The person has some serious character flaws, but that person also has another really good character. Something that's part of their personality that's amazing. So, here's the way I look at it. Some people are like a dragon fruit. The dragon fruit, the entire year, if you've ever seen the plant, it's spiny. So if you can't touch it, you'll get spines. It's like a cactus tree, but worse. The dragon fruit, it's a spiny plant. 95% of the year, it sits there and it's got spines and it's just an ugly spiny tree, but in its right time it gives a beautiful fruit. If you've ever seen a dragon fruit at the store, it's like $9 a pound or $9. Yeah, it's like a ridiculous price for these dragon fruits. I have several here on my property, and I don't know if actually I had a lot more, but I've given them away to people because it's a plant that I brought from Miami. I should have brought more. I've given them away. Now I don't even know if I got any left, but I have some somewhere on my property. I have to see if they've, because I got so many trees and stuff. I don't even know what's what anymore on that yard out there. I got mangoes, papayas. I have so many fruits. But anyways, the dragon fruit, 95% of the time, is this ugly spiny plant. But once in a while, it gives you the most precious fruit. Beautiful, amazing fruit. It tastes like ice cream. Just an amazing fruit. And that's the dragon fruit. It's an amazing plant, really. Well, my point is that some people are just like that dragon fruit, 95% of the time you're looking at a spiny, ugly little plant. But there's a fruit. And some people are like that. Some people have a lot of character flaws. Like the character has a lot of problems 95% of the time. But if you look really carefully, somewhere in that person, there's a fruit to be harvested. That's why I like to be everybody's friend. Friend the people who, when you first meet them, out in the woods or out in the estates, you meet them at first, and they're 95%. The first thing you obviously notice is all the things that are wrong with this person. Maybe how angry they are, or how blunt they are, or how not politically correct they can be. Just, that's the most obvious thing about this person is, wow, there's something really wrong with this person. But if you look more carefully, there is a gem, there's a dragon fruit in that person. There's something in there, And I think a lot of times people locally, they only see the rough exterior. They haven't seen the fruit yet of me, because there's a lot of haters about the channel, but they're looking at the rough exterior. They're not seeing. It's like when you find, it's like a diamond in the rough. Is the saying, right? You know, at first you don't see the value in it, but it's there. And a lot of people are that way. So when you meet somebody that's a little rough around the edges, that's why a lot of times people mention on my videos, Jose, you were so respectful, you were so courteous. I would have cursed that guy out, or I would have been more angry, or I would have said this or that. You could have. But when you meet these rough people, they're like dragon fruit. You see all the spines, you see an ugly little plant. Wait, and there's a fruit to harvest in that person. Some of the greatest people I've met in my life, most people would say, oh, that person's a drunk, that person's a drug addict, that person's this, that person's that. I wouldn't hang out with that, I wouldn't be friends with that person. Those people have in their personality good things. You just have to look for it. Does that mean I approve of whatever mischief or personality flaw these persons have? Absolutely not. Because then once I become friends with them, I tell them, hey, you know, you're like this, you're like that. Is it going to change them? Probably not. And if they do change, that is a very long process, you know? But that's not what friendships are for. You can have friendships with people who are on the complete opposite spectrum of your thinking. You like, we live in a society where we only want to, you know, politically or ideologically, and everything, every person that we associate with has to be of the same exact mental likeness as ourselves, and you're missing out on a lot. Does that mean you have to go associate with people and be friends with them and cool with them and all? No, you really gotta watch who you hang out with, who you associate with, because you're gonna pick up their bad qualities before you pick up their good qualities. Like if they're an alcoholic, you know, the conversation we had with Shadowlack, hashtag Shadowlack, we did a video for him. We talked about this, where if you start hanging out with people, whatever bad things they're into, you're going to get into them. So I'm not saying you should go start hanging out with a bunch of random people. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that you have to look deeper than just the superficial to really extract whatever good fruit a person may have, you know, and it may not be obvious at first. So I have friends, even though like I stand somewhere on an issue, I have friends who are like on the complete opposite of that issue. And there's a lot of subjects I won't touch on his YouTube thing, because I do YouTube for money. And some subjects, if we see each other in person, then there's subjects you talk about face to face. But there's some things I'm just not going to get into on the internet. It's pointless. It's just a waste of time. Because people just want to argue. Now with this whole lockdown thing, the amount of people that go to my channel just to argue, it's like, I don't have time for that, man. As you guys can tell, I'm a very social person. And it's hard right now for somebody like myself to be locked away, put away not able to meet people, to me meeting other people is an incredibly important thing. Of the person I am, my business, I would normally be working for 2 or 3 customers a day. Meeting different people every day to me is a meaningful thing because it's a learning experience, and it just feels like right now, in this stage of my life, learning has just been stopped. You know, like there's nothing new to soak in, you know, and for a person like myself, that's tough because I always want to explore. I always want to see new people, go to new places, see new things. I'm constantly trying to explore and see new and see what's out there. It's tough. Right now we're in Fort Myers Beach. When the whole thing popped off, I went there because it's a popular spring break destination. So I was just curious to see if there were going to be spring breakers there. It looks a lot more dead now than it did back then, I'll tell you that much. So I don't know where the spring breakers are. Alright guys, this is the main strip of Fort Myers Beach. Usually this is a tourist town that's packed. I'm probably the only person on this island wearing a mask from what I've seen. Seems like you still see a lot of out-of-state license plates. A lot of people who are obviously tourists. You know, if you catch people in residential areas like shopping and stuff, they're all wearing their mask, of course. It's pretty much shut down here for the most part. It's even more shut down than it was last time we were here. I think it was 2 weeks ago when they first shut down everything. We came here and there were still some tourists hanging around. Now it seems like there's a lot less people here, so it's definitely seen a few businesses that had signs up, something along the lines of closing soon or going out of business sale. So this is definitely a different scenario from 2 weeks ago when the act was first put in place. There's the bridge. This is definitely the ghost town that it was intended to be now. You know, when at first it was kind of, you know, people weren't taking it serious, businesses were still open. It's definitely taking a turn for the shutdown now. There's gonna be people here. There's not like a fishing pier underneath that bridge, so yeah, it's definitely a ghost town now. Definitely not the little active beach town this place was a few weeks ago. Turn back around here. Last time we were here, this restaurant had a lot of people hanging out, partying and drinking outside. Seems like that was shut down or closed. $10 to park. Talk about tourist trap, man. Businesses have had to close, so it's definitely tough on the locals who are year-round on this island, because now that the tourism is gone, everything's closed. Where if your area has more local residents, then your Publix and stuff are still open. But here, I think just about everything's had to close down. This is 5th Street and St. Carlos Boulevard, so now we're going to cross the bridge over into Fort Myers vicinity. Some pretty big houses over here on the other side. Let's see where we can turn. Normally this would be packed, especially this time of year. See if we can pull a U-turn here somewhere. here just driving around, taking pictures. These are probably tourists. Convertible top down taking pictures. So I'm taking pictures, but I'm official business. These people are gonna have to wait for me. Alright guys, so now we're going to cross the big bridge, the biggest of all the bridges, the Fort Myers Beach Bridge. The view of this bridge is amazing. I wish I had more cameras in every direction. There's so much to see, so much to soak in, and yet there's only one camera. I wish I could just show you guys the other side. It's beautiful, it's amazing. So this is the north end of Fort Myers Beach. When we cross the bridge, we'll be in Fort Myers area. Fort Myers is a pretty big size area. You know, there's some rough spots in Fort Myers. Most of them are on the east side, northeast side of town. The south side of Fort Myers, especially around like Summerlin, Gladiolas, Cypress Lakes, not only are they good areas, but they're also somewhat affordable. And you got McGregor. McGregor is on the water. It's more expensive, of course. But it's an area that has pretty much everything you need. So, you know, if you're looking at Fort Myers area, this Cypress Lakes area, it's affordable, it's low on crime. Now, as soon as you cross the bridge, it's still a little sketchy around here because it's got that beach town feel. You know, you got to kind of go a little bit more towards Fort Myers for it to be nicer. But this area here has like that beach town feel. It's a nice place to party, but I wouldn't want to live out here. You know, it's kind of run down. You know what I'm talking about. You can kind of tell just by looking at it. Good place to party, probably not a good place to live. So now we are on the Fort Myers side. This is kind of beachy as well. It's not as beachy as Fort Myers Beach, but it's got some beach vibes to it. Now we're on the mainland again. We're on the island. We're back on solid Florida land again. So this is San Carlos Boulevard. We're now heading north out of Fort Myers Beach. We're in Fort Myers now. We're going to turn on Summerlin and head towards Sanibel and Captiva. Sanibel and Captiva are really nice islands. Of course, extraordinarily expensive. The real estate on those islands is really expensive. There's a lot of nice restaurants here in this area of Fort Myers. These are on the water, so I'm going to guess probably seafood. And every time I drive through there, it smells amazing. So these are probably some pretty good restaurants around here. My wife, Katie, went to the Bubble Room in Captiva, and she liked it. We're going to drive past that restaurant. I've never been there, but she went there with my mother-in-law, her mom, so they had a nice little trip that they didn't invite me on because I had to work. How come you don't invite me to do nice stuff? Exactly.
Do you think I want to go with your dad every time?
Oh, if we went to Miami, you would. Ah, yeah, buddy. So yeah, that was a nice trip where Katie went with her mom. So I haven't been to the bubble room. How was it like? Was it good?
Yeah, they're known for their cake.
They're known for their cake, so that's a nice restaurant in Captiva. There's also a Mexican place called Mi Casita. They're pretty good. They're on San Carlos or Summerlin somewhere. It's called Mi Casita. Oh no, they're on McGregor. I'm pretty sure they're on McGregor. Mi Casita, it's like an authentic Mexican restaurant. They're pretty good as well. So this area of Fort Myers, there's a few things to see. It's not like it's not Orlando, you know, but there's a few things to do. But this stretch right here is pretty boring. This stretch, it's kind of like a place between places. So it doesn't have like, there's nothing like interesting or eye-catching. It's all kind of weird businesses and, you know what I mean? It's like a place between a place. It's between Fort Myers Beach and Fort Myers. It's neither one. So it's kind of a boring area, other than there is water in a few spots and all that. I mean, it's definitely not Orlando. It's not like some giant tourist attraction out there, but I mean, there's a little golf place there. You know, it's definitely not Orlando. You know, it's just a weird area. I don't know. You know, like they have to try to stand out. Like, look at this building. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a boring stretch of road, I think. You know. It's kind of like we were up by Lake Lindsay, north of Brooksville, a while back, and just randomly on somebody's driveway there was a giant dinosaur that was not finished. And there's a story behind that. I'm not going to tell the story. I'm going to let one of you guys who watches the videos, I'm going to let one of you guys comment the story. Somebody watching will know the story about the unfinished dinosaur. I think it's on Lake Lindsay. And by the way, if somebody knows the address or the location, just comment the street name, because next time I go up there I want to check it out. I mean, I saw it because I drove past it. I know it was in North Brooksville or Lake Lindsay area. By the way, amazing rural drive. Lake Lindsay is a beautiful area. Also, I think it's called Mountain Lake, which is south of Brooksville. There's some great areas up there. You know, rolling hills, big oak trees. I don't really like this area. This area is kind of ugly. Like, you know, there's nothing really pretty that stands out about this area. It's kind of a bland area, if you ask me. Unless you're like right on the water, and that gets expensive. And even the area that I tell you guys that I like a lot and I recommend to a lot of people is Cypress Lakes area. It's a really good area. It's close to everything you need. It's not brand new stuff. These houses are like from 70s and 80s or whatever. You can get a house there from the 300 or 280, something like that. You'll be surprised the deals you'll get in this side of Fort Myers. And this area is not trashy. It's not perfect, but it's not a bad area. You know what I mean? It's a normal area. It's not fancy and ritzy. But just because a place is fancy and ritzy doesn't mean it's better or great, you know? But I like this area of Fort Myers. From here forward, you know, like right about when you get to Summerlin. The only rough area is Pine Manor. And I go in there a lot at night when people are partying. It's like a square district, you know, of like, I don't know, 8 blocks or whatever. And it's probably the only rough area. I know people say, what is that? Man, that's ugly. Wow. But overall, this area moving forward, it's not bad. There's a few pockets like right across those apartments right there. They look kind of crappy. And then there's definitely Pine Manor. And the other area that has a bad reputation. I drove in there. I've been through there a lot. It's called Harlem Heights. It's not as bad as people put it out to be. You know, like people put it out to be as some horrible place. I've gone in there and like in that area, it's like a really nice area. The whole area is nice. It's just those two pockets seem to be a little bit less desirable. Pine Manor is mostly like Hispanic. There's Brazilians. There's by the way, que coisa, gente do Brasil. Gente brasileira. What's up to all the Brazilian people, man? Muita gente do Brasil. Saludos a gente do Brasil. A gente do favela. Gente marginal. Não. Eu não sou assim. Eu sou uma gente boa. Eu tenho muitos amigos brasileiros. Agora não tenho muitos brasileiros em Southwest Florida. mas eu trabalhar com muitos brasileiros, so I've worked with a lot of Brazilians, so I picked up a little bit of Brazilian Portuguese. If I talk to a regular Portuguese from Portugal, they would be like, "What are you talking about?" They would have no idea I wouldn't know what they're saying. But if they're from Brazil, a gente do Brasil, I got the accent and everything down when it comes to the Brazilian, because there's used to be a lot of Brazilians around here. So salutes to all the Brazilian people watching. A gente del Brasil. A lot of Brazilians in Pine Manor. There's Cubans a little bit, mostly Mexican, some Haitian, African, American. It's like a mix of people there. And there's just working class people. If you go there in the daytime, it's empty. If you go there at night, they're partying because they were working all day. You know, I mean, they have shootings and stuff because there's a lot of. It's a party place. It's you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Little Havana, just like Little Havana, Miami, where it's a ghost town in the daytime, and then when everybody gets back from work, somehow they still have energy to party. So that's Pine Manor. You know, I would definitely wouldn't want to live in there unless unless you're trying to save some money and you can get an apartment for like $500 or $600 a month or something. The only reason I could think of living there, you know what I mean? It's not like great either. It's a hood, you know. Harlem Heights, I don't think it's that bad. They're not like multi-unit. They're single-unit houses. There's a lot of Latinos and African Americans, but it's not a bad place. People keep telling me, you know, like, this place is bad. When I did a drive-through of Harlem Heights, my subscribers said it looks beautiful. The, you know, plants, trees, driveways, everything's nice and trimmed up. So sometimes people will tell you, "Oh, this neighborhood has a bad reputation," and when you go there, it's like, it's not really that bad. So I think what it is people have a prejudice against African American communities, so they absolutely just assume the worst of this place just because it's African American, but it's actually a pretty nice community. So the only area that I really would avoid in South Fort Myers is Pine Manor for sure. You know, some of those apartments kind of look rough, like around Cypress Lakes, but they're actually not that bad. At least from the experience that I have there, it's you know, lock your doors and stuff like that. It's an urban area like anywhere else, you know, but it's not bad. There's not like you know, it's an all right area. It's not a bad area, man. You got like everything you need there. You know, and there are some private gated communities, but, you know, if you're okay living in an apartment complex, that's the thing about South Florida, it's like, there's no middle ground. It's either, like, rich people or the hood. There's not a lot of middle ground, and with this south side of Fort Myers is one of the few places where it's a middle ground, you know? Florida is either, like, all ritzy, fancy private gated communities or straight-up hoods. There's not a lot of middle ground in this part of Florida, but this south side of Fort Myers, it's still affordable. It doesn't have the hood element. Like I said, there's those two neighborhoods, and the thing about Pine Manor, it's like it's all like contained within that neighborhood. It doesn't like spill out, except for like there's a few businesses right on US 41. Definitely don't end up right on US 41. You kind of want to be between like Cypress Lakes, Winkler, back in there. It's not a bad area at all. The schools are good, and I don't like to talk about schools because, you know, when they say schools are good, they're referring to like from an academic point of view, and to me, academic is like 5% of the learning experience. Like, to me, the learning experience is not all the academic aspect of it. To me, my personal opinion. But I have, you know, my wife's sister went to those schools, and we used to go to the Special Olympics for her at that school, and the program there is amazing. The people are amazing. I have nothing negative to say about the place. When it comes to the schools, I think the schools are pretty good. I really do, to be honest. They're good schools. They really are. Like, it's a good school. Like, there's Cypress Lakes High School. I mean, I've been to so many Special Olympic events, and my wife went there briefly. We went to Cypress Lakes briefly. 2 years. So, good schools, you know, it's not a bad area at all. I mean, just regular people, good schools. Notice how the toll is closed because of the shutdown, you know, the quarantine. They don't want you to, you know, be handing the people money and stuff. So now you have to go through here, and I guess I take a picture of your license plate. So I guess I have to pay like a $6 toll. That is ridiculous, man. It's like one of the highest tolls anywhere. I mean, tolls are ridiculous. I hate toll roads. I don't understand why we have to pay to get on the road. It makes no sense to me. So this is the Sanibel Causeway. The point that we're leaving now, we're leaving from Punta Rassa. This was a very important place in the past. It's definitely just a random place today. But all the cattle from Arcadia was a very wealthy place in its time. If you go to Arcadia, Florida, they have some of the best antique malls still to this day in Florida. On par with Mount Dora and on par with Micanopy are the antique stores of Arcadia. So if you like antiques, Arcadia has a pretty good situation going on with antiques. They're top 5 in the state for sure. Arcadia is doing a pretty good job with antiques, and there's a lot of history. There's big mansions and all that. Unfortunately, they're in rough shape because the town's not as wealthy now as it was in the past. What made Arcadia wealthy was its agriculture, and Cuba used to buy all of Cuba's cattle would come from Florida. So Cuba would bring pineapple, other fruits, and sugar, whatever. There was a trade situation going on, which Southwest Florida benefited from it greatly. You know, little places like Fort Ogden, Cleveland, all the way up to Arcadia. This whole area depended on Punta Rassa, because from Punta Rassa, on the other side of this bridge we just crossed, that was the departure point of all the cattle going to Cuba. So there used to be land trails where the cattle would come from Arcadia, and all these inland ranches would bring their cattle, be put on ships, and taken to Cuba. And you know, the old stories say that if a cattle died in transportation, they would just throw it in the ocean, and the sharks were ready to eat it. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but that's just an old time stories that people pass around here locally. I mean, it like right now, like we have to use so many chemicals on our tomatoes, and it's a huge problem for the environment, for our health. Cuba could grow all the tomatoes that we need. Like literally, they could grow them, and peppers and tomatoes and all that, without even using fertilizers, because the ground over there is so much more fertile, and the climate, everything's better. And we're so close to Cuba, yet we subsidize these agricultural industries that are pretty much destroying our state. Yet Cuba's 150 miles away from Naples, 180 miles, maybe 200 miles at most from Fort Myers. That's not far on a boat today with the the technology we have. Yet, because of the politics of the world, we can't do that. But imagine like in a world without so much political garbage, we should just be getting our tomatoes from Cuba. You know what I mean? Like my family grows tomatoes over there. They grow amazing in Cuba. You know, notice that all the beaches here are closed. There's cones, there's fences. I'm pretty sure they just recently put up these fences. I might be wrong on that, but definitely Sanibel went through some serious measures to ensure that people are not hanging out on the causeway, because usually these are packed with people. I mean, hundreds if not thousands of people hang out on this causeway. And if you look just to the left, you can see the Sanibel Lighthouse. I'm going to show you guys. We're going to go into some video clips filmed with my Fuji film and some music here, and we're going to go to a little pause here with some music so you guys can check out the lighthouse from far away. I wasn't able to go to that part of Sanibel. I really wanted to get to Captiva, so to get to the lighthouse you have to go south. When I got to the island of Sanibel off the causeway, I needed to go north, so we didn't do the lighthouse, but we'll do that again. There's a lot of wind out of the south, so it would have made a video there pretty difficult. So I decided we're just going to wait until we have a better day, better weather, and we'll get back to the lighthouse on a clear day when the water's transparent, clear, and then we'll do a drone footage of the lighthouse on Sanibel. So let's transfer right to that. Let's take a look at all the shots across the water. So, you know, like from a practical point of view, of course, practical doesn't mean anything today. Practical means nothing. We don't do things practically, we do things politically. So, from a practical point of view, getting our tomatoes from Cuba would just be a perfect scenario, because the biggest problems we have are pollution and the condition of labors in the areas where agriculture is the main source of living. It's a real, you know, perfect scenario if we could get our tomatoes from Cuba again. You know, the price would be perfect for us, and that'd be perfect for them. It would just be a perfect scenario. The problem with Cuba, I don't really understand why Cuba had to import its cattle, but I think it has to do with the fact that Cuba is just it's just an arid place, believe it or not. You know, there's a lot of spots that are really dry, and for some reason Florida produced Cuba's cattle. I don't know why, that's just the way it was, you know. But it made Florida very wealthy because, you know, Arcadia, for example, now these are places that are, you know, these little rural towns are suffering, and not just in Florida, all over the country. But it's really sad when you go into Arcadia and you see, you know, a place that used to be so wealthy, and now it's pretty much nothing, you know. And, you know, there was a real good relationship, a business relationship, that made Southwest Florida prosperous and Cuba prosperous in those days. And of course, 50 years of politics, they still don't fix the relationship with Cuba. And, you know, I've even wondered if I don't do politics on this channel, but it's just interesting to think about why the United States hasn't really, you know, done this with Cuba. You know, like why Cuba hasn't, why this relationship that was so perfect, it's a natural relationship that Florida has with Cuba, and it probably existed before the Europeans were here. Probably when the natives were here, they traded between Cuba and Florida. It's a natural relationship of trade that just makes sense between Cuba. You know, Florida's a peninsula heading back to Cuba. You know, it's just a natural thing. It should just work naturally, but, you know, because of politics, have just messed up the dynamic of this relationship between Cuba and Florida that was great for business, great for everything, really.